So, hello class. Let us start where we actually left the topic yesterday last lecture. Now we are going to start the topic that is properties of the colloidal solutions or colloidal sol. You can say the colloidal sol. There are many properties related to the colloidal sol, and then after we'll discuss about the emulsion topic and the last topic about the application. So before going to the last, let's discuss first the revisionary details about the properties. Okay, fine. Colligative properties. As you start the properties of the colloidal sol, the first one is colligative properties. Colligative properties means all those properties of the given solution that will only depends upon the number of particles present in the given solution. So you can say the colloidal sol also can exhibit the colligative properties because they are also having a different particles having a different size. So many of the related properties like relative lowering of vapor pressure, elevation of boiling point, depression in freezing point, osmotic pressure can be altered because of the different number of particles present before addition of the dispersed phase in the dispersion medium and after the aggregation or association of these particles in the dispersion medium. Actually, when we discuss about this colligative property, we actually have a mind about what the number of particles, what the number of moles of particles we are going to add in the given dispersion medium. Suppose we just added 5 or 10 number of moles in the given dispersion medium, and after addition, due to the aggregation of the particles, due to the association of the particles, the number of particles observed in the given solution decreases. That will just the change the colligative properties, because all those calculations we have done will based on the number of particles what we actually initially added, suppose 5 mole. But after addition, if that 5 mole reduced to the 2 mole because of the aggregation of the particles, suppose, so now the observed colligative properties will depends upon the only 2 moles. That will just differ the calculated value and observed value. This is generally occurs, you can see actually in the aggregates means multimolecular colloids and associate colloids, because in aggregates number of particles in multimoleculars are different, individually number of particles are different. In the association the same, again same possibility is there, because in association as you know about, in associates colloid the number of individual particles actually behave like a true solution as electrolyte, but due to the some concentration, due to the some kind of temperature above which these particles associate in a spherical manner around a particle like a dirt particle, that is called micelle formation, and now all these spherical particles which are actually associate surroundingly is actually behave like a one single particle, and that will reduce the number of observed particles in the solution. This is the why colloidal sol also can be altered, also can be show the colligative properties. Sorry. Actually, after colligative property, we have a discussion about some other properties like what is the motion of the colloidal particles, what they have a charge, they can show some different colors, and how these charge appeared on the colloidal particles. These are the related properties of the colloidal sol. One by one we can discuss from the Brownian movement, the one kind of the non-directional, unpredictable directional movement of the colloidal particles continuously in the given dispersion medium. This is actually due to the continuous collision of the particles together in themselves, or sometimes the particles collide with the dispersion medium particles, or sometimes this is due to the continuous repulsion of the particles. Students, you have to be go through that. The moment, the continuous moment is always a kind of unbalanced enforcement appeared on the particles due to because of the many reasons, because of the many factors. As you know, the gaseous particles also have a continuous random motion. The same way, the colloidal particles also have a continuous random motion, and this is due to the mainly two factor. The one is the unbalanced force appeared on colloidal particles due to continuous bombardment, due to the continuous collides of the particles of dispersed phase with dispersion medium. And the second factor is due to the charge appeared, due to the similar charge appeared on the colloidal particles. Continuously they can be repelled to each other and responsible for a random, unbalanced, undirectional, unpredictable movement. And because of this kind of movement only, you can say the colloidal solutions are stable. Because that movement prohibit or restrict the settling down condition of the particles. So Brownian moment observed by Robert Brown and further studied by Zixmondi with the help of their ultra microscope reason, and they have seen actually the particles, the colloidal particles continuously move and they continuously actually spark or illuminate in the colloidal solution. When we pass the light, the beam of light through the colloidal sol, they have a different possibilities of the appearance under the microscope depending upon which angle we are going to observe the particles. From the transmitted angle, that is called a parallel angle, and the perpendicular angles called reflected angle, we have different ideas, different observation in the colloidal solution under microscope. What they observed, they explained about this is due to the scattering of beam of light because of the particle of size is enough large can scatter, can reflect the beam of light passing through it. And because of that scattering, because of that reflection of the light, now the particles actually illuminate like a stars in colloidal medium. And we can see this under the microscope, under the powerful microscope. And these phenomena actually observed by Zixmondi and explained about it, what is the actual phenomena is actually. As you know about, whatever we can see, the different colors, the brightness, the difference of colors, this is due to the actually illumination of the particles, or you can say the reflection of the particle because of the passing beam light through it. The same procedure occurs in the colloidal solution, colloidal medium. Because of the size range of the particles of the colloidal solution is enough large than the wavelength of the light passing through it. You can observe, it's not minimally, if we passing the beam of light which has wavelength is smaller than colloidal solution, now we cannot observe the same phenomena what is observed by in the general condition like a visible light. Class, you are knowing about the smaller the wavelength of light, the more frequency of the light will be there now. It means the gamma radiations, the X-ray radiation has a very high frequency having a very smaller wavelength. So on passing these kind of radiation through the solution, we cannot observe the same phenomena as the illumination occur by when we passing the visible radiation through the colloidal solution. Because the visible radiation having the greater wavelength than generally having colloidal particles which is 1 nanometer is smaller at least. And that's why the large enough the wavelength will be there more easily the phenomena we can observe in the colloidal solution. The color appeared in the colloidal solution is also the result of the scattering of light or reflection of light which passing through the solution. So Brownian moment and the color appeared on the particle is due to this kind of scattering. And for the same, the example given for the in NCERT, that is a milk solution appeared blue in a reflected and red in a transmitted light. And same way, you can observe the red color of the golden sol with a smaller size of the particle of gold, and with increasing of the size particle, we can see the different colors in the transmission medium, and that is the purple color, blue color, and finally the red color, the golden color. So you can conclude this topic, the color appearance, on the basis of two main factors that will decide the color is the wavelength of light is scattered by the particles and the size of the particles is of the dispersed phase. Both will decide the different color appeared. As we are knowing, the sky blue, the color of sky is showing, you can see the blue. This is also the scattering phenomena of the visible light, and blue color wavelength actually directed towards the observer to can see the blue appearance of the sky. The same way, the oceans are sea, which you can see the blue in color. This is because of the same reason scattering. It's a mean. Actually, there is one more phenomena occur here. During a scattering of light, actually there is splitting of the radiation of beam of radiation passing through the solution. The colloidal particles also can have a phenomena which can split the different radiation passing through it and can have a different color. This is the call actually Raman effect given by the Mr. C.V. Raman. The detailed scattering and the splitting of this kind of light is explained by Mr. Raman. That is not given here only, but you can go through that topic also. What is the actual phenomena occur by Mr. Raman, the scattering phenomena. After that, the appearance, the next property is about the charge. Actually, colloidal particles, the continuous movement is because of the charge appeared. And this charge actually is the result of preferential absorption of the electrons or the preferential absorption of the ions, the electrolytes present in the colloidal solution. The precipitates are the dispersion medium which can be preferentially absorbed the different ions already present in the solution, or the electron furnished from the different ions present in the solution, and that preferential absorption is the result of the charge appeared on the colloidal solid. As you have example of that, the silver nitrate solution added in the potassium iodide or potassium iodide solution added in the silver nitrate has a different types of charge, negatively and positively respectively. When we add the silver nitrate in the potassium iodide, there is an iodide adsorption. When we added potassium iodide in the silver nitrate, the silver adsorption, the ion of silver adsorption is there, and the different result you can see. The same way, the salt of the ferric oxide can absorb the ferric ion or can absorb the hydroxide ion, having a positively and negatively salt is the result. This preferential adsorption make a fixed layer of adsorption of particles over the dispersed phase, that is actually precipitate particles there, and some of the positively particles are diffused due to the force of attraction among them. And now we have a result of two different types of particles. The one is fixed layer particles, the other is a diffused layer particle, and the potential difference between them is called the electrokinetic potential difference or zeta potential. What you have to be learn about zeta potential. Next, we can actually confirm the presence of charge on colloidal particle because of the one of the phenomena called electrophoresis. That is actually a very important phenomena because industrially this electrophoresis phenomena is having a very great, a huge use actually, application, the great application. I will explain after that. The electrophoresis is just applying an electric field in the colloidal salt that will just attract the charged particle towards the different electrodes, and because of the movement of the charged particle in the same direction, there will be settling down of the particles, and the colloidal particles called coagulation. The coagulation means just a conversion of colloidal salt into a suspension solution. A coagulation is just a meaning of settling down of the charged particles present in the colloidal salt at the bottom, because the oppositely charged particles just attract together and collide with the colloidal particles, the dispersed phase particle having a different charge, and they will just make a bigger particle and will settle down at the bottom called a coagulation process. So coagulation is just a phenomenon of settling down of the colloidal particles to convert into the suspension particles because of any oppositely particle present inside there. So electrophoresis is also a part of that by which we can coagulate the colloidal salt by applying electricity, because the electric charge can attract the positively salt or negatively salt depending upon the electrode's nature and will settle down these particles in any site. Now we have a topic, how can we what are the different factors or what can be a different method that can coagulate the colloidal salt. So colloidal salt, where we have a hydrophobic and hydrophilic, the hydrophobic colloidal salt can be just coagulated by the one of the method that is called electrophoresis. Next, the positively colloidal salt and negatively colloidal salt when mixed together, there will be a mutual coagulation takes place, is the result of the coagulation of the particles. This can be done by just heating the hydrophobic salt, because after heating, when we just disperse the heat energy, that will disrupt the movement of the colloidal particles and will result the coagulation takes place. And it may be possible because of the addition of electrolytes from the outside. Students, the Hardy-Sulzay rule convey the idea about how the coagulation can be takes place by addition of electrolytes. He just reveals about the greater the valency of the electrolytes adding from the outside can be coagulate majorly the colloidal particles, because having great affinity to be collide easily, and this is called the coagulation number also. The coagulation number is just give the affinity or the strength of the coagulation properties of the electrolytes added. So more number of positive charge or negative charge present in the electrolytes can coagulate more easily the colloidal salt positively or negatively depending upon the nature of the colloidal salt, is called the affinity or strength of coagulation. Now one problem is there, that is called demerits or limitations of Hardy-Sulzay rule. Some of the time they ask about what correction we can done in the Hardy-Sulzay rule. So you have to be noticed about. Students, and listen it more clearly. Hardy-Sulzer rule is only about the number of valency, means number of charge appeared on the colloidal electrolytes causes a coagulation takes place. That is called a flocculating ion. The flocculating ion, fine, but you have to be learn one more thing. The polarization of the particles actually is great suitable than a charge of the particle to have a coagulation of the particles takes place. Means if the electrolytes added from the outside has great polarization nature, can coagulate the dispersed phase particle more easily than the other particles. So along with valency, along with charge, there should be polarization also. There should be two factors. Smaller the size of ions, smaller the size of ion. For example, I can see the example actually. If someone asks about, I have just written here aluminium plus 3 and gallium plus 3. Aluminium plus 3 and gallium plus 3. Students, just learn it. Aluminium plus 3 has a smaller size, can have a more coagulation power than a gallium plus 3 even having a same valency, because smaller the size of cation has great polarization power and can be easily coagulate the given coagulation given colloidal salt. That is the one of the correction should be there. After that, there is one topic called emulsion. Students, emulsion means it is actually a mixing of two liquid, means dispersed phase and dispersion medium both should be liquid, and when you mix together they will give a emulsion. But you have to be learn it. It may be categorized into two parts. When oil mixed in water or water mixed in oil, means emulsions are generally categorized into oil into water or water into oil. For example, milk is example of oil into water and butter is example of water into oil. The dispersed phase in milk is oil and dispersion medium is water. But in butter, the dispersed phase is water and dispersion medium is oil. You have to learn one more thing here. The emulsion is not very stable. Emulsions are generally unstable. On standing, they can be separate by their layers. So to be stabilize the emulsion, we have to be use a emulsifying agent from the outside. And for the oil into water, for example, milk, the emulsifying agent is like a proteins. So emulsifying agent is one of the more point here that will just stabilize the emulsions from the outside. We have to be at this. The same way gelatin, proteins, gum, they can be emulsifying agent in oil into water. And in water into oil, there will be a heavy metal oxides. It can be a result of the stabilization of emulsions. And the last topic is application. Application, you have to go through that. Application means how can we use the colloidal salt around us. That means many of the uses around you is actually an example of colloidal salt. And important is that the precipitators, the electric precipitators used in the chimney in the many factories are actually one of the very important use, because of the many unburnt particles of carbon, arsenic, heavy metals come along with the smoke can be filtered by the precipitation of the electrified precipitators used there. That is the one of the use. Tanning of leather is also example of that. Many of the medicines are the, as you know about, they are colloids because they have a great affinity of their absorption and assimilation because of the great surface area. So many of the applications given in your NCERT book, you can go through that. And then I'm concluding lecture here also. If you have any doubts related to these topics, you can ask me directly by giving a message. Otherwise, we'll start the next topic, next chapter from the next lecture, that is coordination compounds. So I'm concluding my lecture here only. Then we'll meet in the next lecture. Good day.